can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Eevee and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It is your boy Ernie, the Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell, so that way you don't miss out on any videos. Also, if you enjoy the video, hit that like button, because it really helps the channel out. We are going to be talking about Phoenix, number 3 and 4, written by Stephanie Phillips, with art by Alessandro Miracolo, colors by David Curiel, and letters by Corey Petit. Let me go ahead and get 3 out of the way. There were a few people that kept asking me about Phoenix number 3. Why didn't we get a Phoenix number 3 video? I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't really have anything to say about it. It's really about as simple as that. I didn't really have a whole heap of a lot to say about Phoenix number 3. I mean, it's not to say there weren't interesting things going on in it. I think really the most important couple of things where we witnessed Adani go into the God Quarry, a place that exists kind of like on the edges of the Marvel Cosmic Universe. It's a place that we've seen Thanos go to quite a few, I won't say quite a few times, but it's a place we've seen him at least a couple of times in the last 10 years, within the last 10 years or so, I guess. And it's a place where he ultimately regained a lot of his power when he had kind of fallen on hard times during the Jeff Lemire portions of the Thanos solo series from, oh my god, this was like, what is it, like 2019-ish? 2018, 2019-ish? And we've also seen how Adani, gains her power. I mean, it's not really, it's not to say that it's not anything interesting. I didn't have anything to say about it, because I mean, it's one of those things we kind of witness. I won't say in passing, but just as one of those things we just kind of see happen, and nothing bad really comes of it. It's really just more of Adani accepting the fact that she is, the person who dictates her journey going forward. That's really what I took from it. I don't think there was any deeper meaning there. Beyond that, I thought probably the other most interesting thing is when we learn who Paricus is in league with. Now, we learn that, of course, while he has Adani by his side, who has unlocked the DLC God-level power buff, we see that he's also working in concert with the Black Order, who are well known for working alongside Thanos, and that they are there to speak on the Mad Titan's behalf. We don't really get to see any of that play out in issue number 4. Not that I would have expected it. I think it's something that this is kind of like a long game thing that's going on here. I think the 4th issue has a lot more to say. Not to say the 3rd issue didn't. There was other decent stuff in there too. There was all the stuff between Jean and Corsair, and kind of them getting on better terms than what they started. There's all that stuff. But yeah, ultimately I feel like 4 had more of a lion's share of something to say. And it's largely about the fact that Jean Grey is considered dangerous because of the Phoenix. Not that that's news, we know Jean Grey is all powerful, but we've learned something about the Phoenix that is not necessarily new, but a little bit different at the same time. When Jean Grey has the Phoenix Force, and even when she doesn't, but more specifically when she does, she can't die, not permanently. We saw over the course of the Krakoan era that, well, yes, they had resurrection protocols, all that good stuff. When Jean died at the Hellfire Gala, she was able to bring herself back to life. And she did it without really needing the Phoenix Force. I mean, yes, the Phoenix Force played a role in it, but we know that Jean can bring herself back without it. But now that she has it, and mind you, the Phoenix Force over the course of the Fall of the House of X, Rise of the Powers of 10 story arc, more specifically in the X-Men Forever kind of companion story to that, the Phoenix had changed. The Phoenix has been rebirthed and become something new, which might give a little bit more credence to why Gladiator is concerned. I don't think he has this information, though. I don't think he knows 100% that the Phoenix has changed, but during X-Men Forever, the Phoenix was ultimately destroyed and brought back anew and kind of restarted the cycle. But something's a little bit different here is that the Phoenix Force is forever. It always dies and comes back. It's the epitome of the cycle of death and rebirth. However, now something's changed so much in the sense that whenever Jean Grey dies with the Phoenix Force, apparently she comes back stronger than ever. And we learn this because we see at about the midway point of this book, Jean Grey runs into Gorr, the God Butcher. Now, this is the part where I kind of had to, I'm not gonna lie, I had to roll my eyes a little bit. Because for some of you who may or may not know, over the course of the King Thor book, Gorr was sunset. Yes, Gorr the God Butcher. Yes, he came back. Yes, he had his heart merged with all black and all that other stuff. But the thing is that by the end of that book, Gorr the God Butcher is defeated, and Gorr is turned back to his original self and is allowed to live out the rest of his days, in peace and harmony. Like, that was kind of the whole thing, is that Gorr was finally given that opportunity to rest after all of these, untold, millennia of fighting back against gods. He can now chill. And that was supposed to be his story. And I find it, I don't know, it's weird that he's come back with no rhyme or reason. I don't know. I thought that was weird. I thought that was a weird one. I don't really know how to feel about that part of it. And once again, I will totally cop to this. It's been a long time since I have read the King Thor book, but I distinctly remember Gorr being put down and then being wheeled off to the convalescent home. Though I guess technically speaking, the more I think about it, that story arc takes place further in the future, so I guess it would be okay that Gorr is still running around, but it's still just such a weird thing. It's like, okay, we can't use Gorr in that far future timeline anymore because he's donezo, but like we're still gonna kind of use him here and there. I don't know. Honestly, Gorr's one of those characters, like, it's cool that he shows up here, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, okay. Like, I don't know. I feel like, so much damage has been done to Gorr, since his initial debut that I don't even take him that seriously anymore as a character. The villain always has to come out the gate swinging like a badass, but then ultimately something's gonna happen. They have to be dumbed down on some level in order to, come back and, not be so much of a threat the next time. So. And even though he seemingly retires Jean Grey's jersey, she still comes back. And she is still the Phoenix. And I guess this is to make a case to the Galactic Council that Jean Grey is a true, genuine threat. Now, we don't know what Jean says or does at the end of this issue once she comes back, because, well, of course not. That's the end of the issue. But I feel like this is all, Gladiator trying to rouse up everybody. While it may or may not work, it's just ultimately going to end up distracting from the actual real threat, and that's Thanos. And even Paricus, who shows up at the Galactic Council, is just more proof of that. Like, he seems so interested in taking down Jean Grey, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I feel like what may or may not be happening here is that Paricus is just manipulating the situation. I mean, Jean Grey, clearly, she's not really the true problem here. It's going to be Thanos. The fact that the god of unlimited and unchecked power and the Mad Titan are working together, yeah, that is literally your elephant in the room, but they're focused on the wrong thing. And that's also, from a narrative perspective, kind of the point. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, this is good. I mean, it's kind of like it almost kind of takes this book and puts it, I won't necessarily say in space opera territory, but damn near close to it. Not just by virtue of the fact that it takes place in space, but yeah, it just feels like a solid space opera. And one that I gotta admit, where it is going, like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I know, but I will definitely say, of what I've seen thus far in it, I find a lot of it pretty entertaining. I think, though, this issue, in terms of just sheer entertainment value, I liked more than the previous issue. The previous issue wasn't so much bad, but I won't lie, I completely forgot about it until I read this issue. I was like, oh yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing. It's not to say that it's forgettable, but just like I read so much stuff that, like, yeah, sometimes I just forget about books. I'm just like, oh yeah, that was a thing that I did. That was the thing I read the other day. Yeah, that was totally a thing. So yeah, it just is what it is. I'm getting to the point right now where there's a lot of issues you probably won't see videos for because I just don't have anything to say. And that's kind of my thing. Like, I like to be able to add context to something where there may not have been context, and maybe expound upon context when the context I feel isn't like, you know, telling the whole story. But in books like this one, where like, yeah, I mean, there's cool stuff that's happening, but it's not like, you know, a whole heap of a lot of things that, you know, going on. Yeah, I just feel like there's no real, you know, reason to just, you know, give you the blow by blow of it. You know, that there's other channels for that. There's other channels for that if you just want the blow by blow, no context. Yeah, and no shade to them either, but that's just not me. I like context.